Hello, everyone, and welcome to Keeping It Real with Gigi and Steele.
Where we care about you and what you're going
I'm Gigi,
to do.
and Steele and I are so glad that you guys took time out to tune into our podcast. We are so happy to have you. So Steele and I wanted to create this platform because there was so much going on in the world today. You look at the news, there's so much going on social media, although people are posting what they want us to know, but there are a lot of stuff going on social media, just around the world in general. And she wanted to use this podcast to create a safe place to talk and to just kind of just like be ourselves. What do you think, Steele?
Yeah, that's our outlook on the podcast. Interact with y'all, whatever problems they have.
And we guys, we juggle so many roles. We are parents, we're grandparents, we're aunts, we're uncles, we're caregivers. We're friends, we're counselors, we're intercessors. We have so many roles, but underneath those roles, we all are battling something, right? It may not be the same thing in other circumstances. It might be the same thing, but we all are going through something. So we want to use the platform to kind of share our story, to kind of encourage and motivate each other. um, One of the reasons why I wanted to start this podcast is Phil and I believe it was pre-COVID, we used to host this DNA class for our church. The DNA class is where people come in and they join the church and then they kind of talk about their expectations from the church, and then we kind of give them the church expectations, the bylaws, and things of that nature. And on this particular I'd say I think it was like February because I remember being it very, very cold and we only had three people show up to the class. And again, still now I was co-hosting the class. So we had a lady and her daughter to come in. I don't know if she remembers this or not, but it was a lady and her daughter that came in, and it was another older lady. So the older lady didn't know the lady and her daughter. Okay. And so we taught the class about a 90-minute session. And at the end of the class, the mom, who was the mother of the daughter, and she says, have such an anointing on you, a strong anointing. She said, I feel compelled to share my story with you. And so I told her, I said, well, ma'am, I said, the only person that's here that you don't know is this lady right here. I said, but you don't count still now because we're the facilitators. So if you wanted to share your story, still now are more than welcome to hear your story because, of course, your daughter already knows your. And so she started to share her story. She's like, I don't know though, because my story is so weird. As she said, you won't believe it. She said, it's just a terrible story. I know nobody else is going through a story like this. And so as she began to tell her story and she got towards the end, my eyes filled with tears. And I'm just like, wow. And I'm just like, still not battling that same storm right now that you're talking about. That's your story. Still not battling the exact same thing. And she looked at me like, couldn't believe it. Because the story was so crazy. It is such a crazy story. And due to personal reasons, I won't share this story. But she just went in and said, like, God, like, I cannot believe. And I said, ma'am, God led you to share that story because he was letting you know that you weren't in this storm by yourself. And he was letting me know that I too, even though it's crazy, and I promise you guys, it's crazy. Even as crazy as this storm was that we were both battling, we both went it by ourselves. Because what he says, where two or three are gathered his name, he will be in the midst. So he was letting us know that he had her through her storm, and he had me through my storm. And that's why I wanted to use the platform because we want to share our storms, right? Because what we can do can encourage and motivate the next person and the next person.
That's basically that's all in a nutshell. Our goal is to make you feel as comfortable as the lady in GG's story. Comfortable with us, so you can share your thoughts and whatever you're going through with us. And
Difference between Still and I and our platform is we want to be ourselves. Hence, this is the reason why Still and I wore our robes. Last name is Edmonds, right? I want you guys to be comfortable. If you have hair, let your hair down and be yourself. Still and I are going to be open and upfront on our platform. How we made mistakes, yes. How we learned from those mistakes, yes. We have some mistakes we've learned from by experience, and some mistakes we made, just by listening to trying to catch it when other people was giving us advice. But sometimes, the best experience they say is those learned. So we've also learned from our mistakes, and we continue to learn from our mistakes. You learn and grow every day. We're no better than the next person, right? No matter what our roles are, do we have great jobs and careers? Are we entrepreneurs, business owners? Yes, we are all that. But nobody cares at the end of the Nobody cares what you drive. Nobody cares where you live. Nobody cares how much money you make. None of that matters. Okay? It doesn't matter what you have, but it does matter who you have. And hopefully that you all have Jesus, right? Phil and I are heavy in our faith, in our spiritual walk with God. So if you're coming on our platform and think you're gonna get some cursing and a whole lot of Rick Ross type of jargon, you're not. Because we are
Here.
not that person, right? We prefer not to be cursing on our platform. It may be some heated conversations, but we're gonna keep it godly and we're gonna keep it clean. So no Rick Ross type stuff. If you want to hear Rick Ross and cursing and stuff like that, might not want to tune into our podcast. Okay. Hopefully we will touch the lives of you guys, and you guys will touch our lives. Sometimes we will have actual guests on our podcast, and we can interview them, and you guys can interview us. What do you think about that, Steve?
Well, my thoughts on that is, hey, like, share, subscribe when it's posted. Tell your friends and family, tune in. Days that we plan on doing it is Mondays and Fridays, and hopefully we'll be doing some live podcasting where you can interact with live and answer questions and react.
Okay, so with our podcast, we're gonna be right now we're just gonna be pre-recording. So you can look forward to seeing us on a post on Mondays and Fridays. We may do a part two or part three, some of our podcast conversations. It depends on the comments that you like. Leave us a comment if you want to hear more about something. If there's certain topics that you want to talk about, leave us a comment. For the more heated conversation that we will have, we may do part two, part three, or we might even go as long as more than 30 minutes. Typically, we plan for our podcast to be about 20 to 30 minutes per session, but if it gets deeper, we might do 30 to 40, or we make it a part two or part three. It's up to you guys. But again, we're going to we're going to pre record and post on Mondays and Fridays. If it gets, as we get our content up, we'll probably post maybe 3 times a week as opposed to 2 times a week. But we'll let you guys decide, just like, share, and comment. Still, what platforms are we gonna be
On
on?
the platforms we're gonna be on, it's gonna be YouTube, Spotify, and Facebook. In YouTube, Spotify, and Facebook, where you listen, comment, get in touch with us.
And yes, so we got on this podcast, keeping it real with Gigi and Steele, where we care about you and what you're going through because we want to hear from you guys, right? We're all like I said, we're all battling a storm, right? The Bible tells us in Matthew 5 that it rains on the just and the unjust. No matter how godly we are, how spiritual we are, however you want to call it, how saved you are, we are all going through something, right? Good or bad, we're all going through something. And so that's why we want to use podcasts to kind of just talk about it, enjoy life, and motivate and encourage each other. What do you think about that? Like we can encourage some people, motivate
I
some
feel like
people.
I encourage a lot of people. Like I said, the more you watch us, the more you feel inspired and encouraged. More God hope. Um, Basically, hey, get a good others, have a good time together.
And we're gonna talk a little bit of everything. We're gonna talk about life. We're gonna talk about family. We're gonna talk about finance. We're gonna talk about um, children. We're gonna talk about relationships, marriage, dating. Still not have been together almost 20 years, so I want to find out what's going on in the dating world because I wouldn't even know how to start a date. Still not divorced. I don't know what to tell me because I wouldn't know what to do.
Good for me.
It's funny because Still and I, we have grandkids, right? Some of our friends have like 6 and 7-year-old children. We're like, we have grandchildren, right? 2 grandsons. They are amazing. They are a bundle of joy. They are 4, and we love them so much. So still not gonna even talk about being grandparents. So we definitely are. Woo, we're taking on a lot with being grandparents, but we love it, and we wouldn't take anything for it. So again, we're gonna talk about every and anything. If there's certain topics you want to talk about, please let us know. Go on our page and comment and tell us what you talk about. If there was something that we talked about and you missed and you say, "Hey, I got a question about this," or "What do people think about this?" Leave a comment and still now address it at our next session. Okay. But no question is like they say in school, no question is a dumb question. So please ask, please share. Again, still now, still growing. We can agree to disagree. We don't always have to come on here and say, "Oh, I agree with you, I disagree with you." It doesn't matter whether you agree or disagree. Let us know how you feel because we care about you and what you're going through. So again, we're gonna be posting on Mondays and Fridays. You can look forward to seeing our podcast. Like, share, subscribe, and tell everyone about Still and Gigi. So what's those platforms again? They can
It's
find
gonna
us.
be YouTube, Facebook, and Spotify.
Okay, so YouTube, Facebook, and Spotify, guys. Okay, look forward to seeing you guys on Friday. Again, like, share, and subscribe. And again, this is Keeping It Real with Gigi and Steel,
Where
where
we
we.
care about you and what you're going through.
I'm Gigi.
And I'm still.
Bye.
Bye.